Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to another episode of Successful Witches, our podcast where we are obsessed with all things indie romance, with spice, with smut, with the ultimate must-have accessory of happily ever after. I'm your host, Elliot Rose. I write spicy paranormal romance, and I cannot wait to introduce you to our beautiful guest this week, who is an incredible indie romance author. Elle M Drew is an avid writer and reader of spicy fantasy and paranormal romance, with her specialty being writing all about fat girls getting railed by the paranormal. Her books are incredible magical blends of fantasy and paranormal mixed with dark romance that, of course, have the ultimate adult sexy spin to them. This was an incredible conversation. We dive straight into the deep end of talking all about book talk and author life on the internet. Come along for the ride and enjoy this conversation.
So then people are always like, yeah, I do the TikTok dances to promote my book. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do my mom dance.
Yes, I know.
I'm not even going to try to learn.
It's do you know how long that shit takes to, I am the laziest book talker that ever exists. I'm page flick, throw the book on the bed.
Every time somebody asks me what the secret to book talk is, because I'm almost I don't know how many followers I'm on a lot. Every time somebody asks me what the secret is, I have to explain to them that 75 to 80%, I'm almost at 40K. 75 to 80% of TikTok is just dumb luck where you posted at the right moment with the right sound. And they're no, you're gatekeeping the secret. And I'm like, me, that bitch who does not put on makeup most of the time, who cannot remember dance moves, obviously stumbles and flubs their way through things, and doesn't even have a nice phone with a nice camera. So my videos aren't even crystal clear. I'm gatekeeping shit.
Yeah. It's trust me when I say.
A lot of shit at the wall, and eventually stuff started sticking.
Yeah. Well, what was the one that you did recently? And it was at the end we had the blooper of the crown and everything fell.
No, oh my god! I straight up my nose was bleeding, and I was going to re-record it because I was but then my nose was actually bleeding, and I was my crown had somehow managed to land into a chair with a laundry basket that just barely caught it, and I was I can't record again. Screw it, I'm gonna post it. And then it does well, and people are you're so funny that you planned that. And I'm if you think I plan anything, you have not been paying attention.
Yeah. It's yes, I coordinated that perfectly, including split nose.
It was literally blood dripping down my nose, and I was just I'm not playing anything.
Yeah.
I hear a sound on TikTok. I immediately put on a pair of pants and a bra and say, let's just do it. And then I record it and then I post it, and I don't worry about it further.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than my most viral video, which is about traveling in Tokyo, my 3 most popular videos, all of them were I am exhausted and tired and I need to post content. Literally, one of them was I've tried to do an introduction. Literally, it was I've tried to do an introduction video multiple times, but I'm tired. These are my fucking books. Go read them. And that somehow hit 400,000 views, and I'm just
yeah, what?
Why?
Yeah.
That makes
no.
sense.
As you say, it's there is no gatekeeping, there is no secret. It is just literally being unhinged on the internet is probably the secret to book talk.
So, I mean, there is a secret, but it's more a hard truth nobody wants to accept.
Yeah.
And I definitely get a little judged for every time I say this, but it is the truth. The truth is that you have to you have to keep throwing things at a wall. You're not going to have a video go viral unless you're posting a video that can go viral.
Yeah.
So if you're not posting, you don't have a chance. So I used to post 3 times a day. Right now I post 2 times a day. That's number 1. Number 2 is you need to be posting books videos that actually are about your books, or can promote your brand at the very least. So I generally try to keep videos about author advice and writing community stuff to 1 to 2 out of every 10 to 15 videos. Otherwise, And I try to make sure that at least 50% of my videos are directly linked back to a certain book. I wasn't doing that this summer, and I kind of showed. Like, I try to make sure that 50% of my videos go directly to one single solitary book, whether it be a quote, a flip through, a point of view, like a sound, like, and that's just like the simple facts. It's like, if you want a video to go viral, you have to be posting videos. And if you want to do well as an author, your videos that you're posting have to be about your books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it take a lot of time? Yeah. Is it exhausting? Yeah. Do I spend more of my day on marketing than I do writing and editing? Yeah.
Yeah. Like the admin side and like the marketing side is like, you then get to like the end of that, add in mum life and like everything else, right, going on. And it's like, you finally sit down at the end of the day and you're like, right, creativity. Like,
well, and like, it's wild because like you'll finally get like on doing something and then all of a sudden your timer's going off because you need to go like turn the oven on and like make dinner, and it's like, well, so sometimes writing and everything gets shoved to the side because you got to post the market.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what anybody can say that, you know, they don't write to make money, but the simple fact of the matter is that publishing books costs money, so you have to be making money in order to be writing and producing them. Sometimes the writing and the editing does have to take second seat to the marketing and to the admin.
Yeah.
And that's always really hard when you're a creative energy, because you'll be like, oh my God, I have like the best, like, I'm so excited for this scene. And then you don't get to it for 3 days because you've got all this other crap to deal with.
Yeah. And it's that thing, right? That it's like, we can write what we want to write. We can indulge our creativity all day long, but unless we've got like a community there who's ready to like read it, it's also kind of just like putting it out into the void, right? So you've got to have that building community like to go hand in hand. But it's never been easier to build community, right? Like on our own and off our own back. Like,
I mean, well, you know,
especially for indie and self-published, right? Like, it's never been easy.
Indie being able to connect to readers really, really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and like, I really think that like for me as a plus size as a plus size author writing plus size fiction, it's really easy for me to like stumble across plus size TikTokers who then are like their entire content has nothing to do with books, right? And then they'll occasionally post like that one video about books, and they're like, hey, I'm mutuals with this girl who is also fat and also posts this fat fashion, and she writes fat books. And so like that's a great thing about, I think, TikTok, is that you can reach other communities easily that you wouldn't normally access. And book talk in general, you know, everybody comes from different ways of life. Everybody has different passions. But I think that a lot of people read that aren't like necessarily like a huge part of like the bookish community, but they're still readers. It's just that like they're not obsessed with it like we are, you know. And then like you reach them and then they post it to their followers, and then all of a sudden, boom, like,
yeah.
But it takes time to like make and build. It takes time to make and build those fashion posts. Like, I will tell you what.
Yeah, exactly. So, in touching on that for a hot second, can you tell us a little bit about the kind of path to your indie romance author journey? Because like, I think it's fucking fascinating how everyone ends up like where they are currently, or like whatever season they're in on their author journey. So give us all the goss, spill all the tea, because okay. I'm dying to know, because I know it's going to be a story. Okay.
So I started writing back in, I originally used to quote it as being 2001, and I haven't changed my like stuff to update this, but I've realized that it started in 1999. In middle school, I would be in the school library. I was obsessed with the Wheel of Time series. And I came across this forum called Dragon Mount. And they had like an interactive, they had like a spoilers area, and then they had like an interactive like community where like you could like pretend like you were like a member, but like in like the real world setting. And then they also had a role play section. And I desperately wanted to be a Green Aes Sedai so badly in my early teen years. I thought it was so badass that you could join the battle Aja. And so I started role playing, and I was in middle school, and I loved it. And then forward a few years, I started getting into other things like so fan fiction was a thing, and So I found other fandoms. I started writing Hermione fan fiction, and then from there I was writing some historical fan fiction. I've always been obsessed with Henry of York, or Elizabeth of York, and Henry Tudor, the seventh one, not the eighth. So I would write like some fan fiction for them, and then like I eventually stumbled onto Tumblr and joined like the Teen Wolf fandom, and then I was like doing like role play, the Vampire Diaries too, and I did that for years. And I always said along the way that at some point I wanted to publish a book. I studied literature in college. I joined creative writing classes. I always said that I would write a book. Real life happens. Got married. We moved a lot. We traveled a lot. I worked. I had kids. I was still writing fan fiction. Moved communities. Joined Star Wars fandom. Joined the Bridgerton fandom for a hot minute there. Just kept going, writing and writing and writing. And then my husband was deployed. And there was a huge movement of people on TikTok that were getting into Draco talk. And I was like, I have to see what this is about, because I was seeing about it on Twitter and on Tumblr. So I joined TikTok with my fandom account. And then I discovered fan edits of Rogue One. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so into this. And then I actually stumbled across A.K. Mulford, who was writing her first novel. And I watched her grow. I was there from when she started the account to when she released. And I watched it boom. And that day, I made my social media accounts for all platforms with a pen name. That stated, I had absolutely like no money. My husband was gone. We had a house across the country that was not doing well. I had about $100 to my name. I had nothing. I sold my stroller, my secondary stroller that had come from my oldest child, in order to be able to purchase Atticus for formatting. Like I was nickel and diming it. And so rather than working on the novel of my dreams, the novel of my heart and soul, I had a couple of different ideas for writing some fantasy novels and romantasy. I said, you know what? I'm really good at writing smut. I've been writing porn what plot for years. My explicit fanfics in all sorts of fandoms have always done well. So I said, that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to write some, not short stories because I'm a long-worded bitch, obviously. I told you to stop me if I talk too much. I said, I'll write like novellas, like novelitas, or whatever, like the under 20,000. But like, I was like, let's do that. And so then I wrote the first like 6 chapters of One Night in Garoureve. And I had some like fan fiction betas, and then like I had a couple of people who I'd like met along my TikTok journey. I put it out there, and it was like a one night stand with like a happy return. Like, you don't know that he's a werewolf, but like he bites her ass and tells her like she's gonna be coming back. And they were like, "Where's the rest of it?" Said, no, that's that. There's going to be 5 of them. It's all going to be like one night stand type of vibes. And they were all like, where's the rest of it? So I took a step back and I kind of like looked around, and I was just like, okay, let me reshape this. So like, instead I made them wolf shifters, because I love werewolves. But the moon kind of gets in the way of like my project planning. Like, I need him to be able to shift more often than once every 28 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we got priorities here. We got things to work on.
Yeah.
We worked it, revamped it. I released the first book. I was not expecting much, but I had like 80 pre-orders. I was shocked. I paid $45 for my cover from an artist on Fiverr, and I purchased the photos with deposit photos and an AppSumo deal for $30. Okay. I was expecting nothing. And then Lillian Lark promoted me. And that was right before Lillian released Deceived by the Gargoyle. So it was after Kraken had come out. And I was like shocked. And I had like a huge boom. And I posted a TikTok basically like crying, saying like, thank you guys. And it was a couple days after Christmas. And then I got a bunch of fat phobic comments. And I was basically like, fuck you guys, I'm on a fucking high. Like, like my book is ranked, like in like the top like 10,000, I think. Like it was like not, I didn't have that many readers, but like it was still like it was doing something. And I was like amazed that like anybody was reading it. I was like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna fucking make this my whole brand. Like, how dare you tell me that I'm fat phobic because her thighs rub? Like, I posted like a TikTok video of like, don't tell me that I don't know what a fat girl can do in bed. Like, look at me, like she literally has my body. And that video like did even more, but then I had another fat phobic comment. So then like I posted like another TikTok video the night before Christmas, went to bed, didn't look at my phone for 2 days, came back. My book was number 49 in the Amazon store.
Yes.
And yeah. So that pretty much just like did it for me. I was like, you know what? We're gonna just change of plans.
Yeah.
All fat bitches from here on out, because pissing off the fat folks, number one, is great. Number two, I was having all these plus size content creators coming to me and being like, oh my God, like you're hilarious, you're amazing. And I'm just like, no, I was definitely schnockered on way too much, not even eggnog. Like I was just like, okay, cool and funny. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mixed it all up. Somewhere along the way, we got orders to move to Japan. I tossed ideas out of the way that I was supposed to be working on. Decided to write a bear book because I was like, let's write like low pain and like low angst, like your comfy cozy read, And then I don't know what happened. My kids went to school and somehow it all fell apart. and now I haven't released a book since February, but I've got like 3 different things that are almost ready for release. So we're getting there.
But it doesn't feel like it's been that long. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it's like we as authors are painfully aware of like every day that goes by that we haven't released something. But to me, I feel like Vampire in the Bookstore like only just came out, like it's crazy.
Well, and also I've had 2 audiobooks released since then, and I'm working on producing 2 more. I'm working on producing Trapped in Garoureve and then Vampire in the Bookstore. Like I'm working on those audiobooks. So it doesn't look like much is going on to like necessarily, or like it doesn't feel like it because I haven't had like any big releases. But then it's like I have 4 different manuscripts that are like reaching the polishing stages. So
yeah. So there's going to be this sudden like flurry of activity all of a sudden.
Well, so I kind of played myself. I didn't realize that once your kids can read, all of a sudden editing your manuscript while sitting on the couch beside them is not a thing you can do anymore. And that's a big chunk of what happened this summer. And so or like I would just be casually working while like my kids watch TV. Yeah. And then your kid leans over and goes, Mommy, what's KNOTT? Oh, okay. We don't need to talk about nodding. And then she's like, Mommy, that looks like the F word a lot. F word. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
We're done. So then all of a sudden, like all this time that I used to be able to spend on my manuscript while like just exist, like I used to just leave my laptop open on the table while like I'm making dinner or like while I'm folding things. I would like read things. Yeah, can't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah. So I already have plans for next summer. I'm hoping that I'm going to be for next summer while my kids are out of school, I will instead be tossing things to my editor to edit over the summer. And also I'm hoping that I'm going to have an audiobook or 2 in like the production stages, and then I can listen at the very minimum while following on like my Kindle, try, so I didn't plan well. I assumed that I would be able to do way more writing over the summer than I did. And
it's like the different ebbs and flows of like where your energy has to focus all of a sudden, that you like what I did have is like a routine back here now is like no longer happening.
Like I have a full routine while they're in school. You get up, you catch up on all the emails and the social media, you do the school routine, you get home while I'm doing breakfast, I'm kind of messing around on my phone. I post my social media content, And then I write and I write and I write and I write until like right before it's time to go get them. And then I'll go through like my calendar, click everything off, go and do like the school pickup, everything, get the snacks. And then once they're settled doing like homework and stuff, then I do like the business stuff until it's time to work on dinner. And like I have like this whole routine down. And I, for some reason, thought that like it wouldn't be hard over the summer. And instead it was a disaster.
and yet you still have got books out in the world doing their thing, magically doing their thing.
You know, it's funny. I before release and like in the build up. So what I didn't have in money, I did have in time. I was nursing a child, and my husband was gone, and so I was full-time parenting. So I would have to lay in the bed with one child and then hop back over to the other one. So I had a lot of time to just do research on my phone. And one of the most popular things that I saw being said, specifically by indie authors, was that you release a book, you push it hard for 30 days, and then you push it soft for the following 60 days, and then by then you should have your next book out and never think about the old one again. And I'm just, and like a huge, like I will have like random days where I wake up and I see that I've sold 20, 30 copies of a book, and not even the first in a series. And it's because I posted some random TikTok with a quote in it. The idea of not promoting, I mean, like, arguably speaking, if you are releasing every 90 days, you should be in the build up. Like if you're 90 days out from a release, you should probably have, I say this as somebody with a release hopefully in 90 days that does not have but you should hopefully have a pre-order up.
Yeah.
At the 90 days mark, if not sooner. You should be posting content in the 90 days building up to a release. And then like you should be pushing hard for like the next 30 days. But like to not post your backlist at all, to like not even think about it, that's a gold mine of quotes. And particularly if you have new readers and new people who see you, like let's say you've got 3 different series and you're posting only about the 3rd series and people have only read the 3rd series, they're not even going to know that your 1st series exists unless you post about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's wild to me how much advice I've seen about like not touch, like how much advice I've seen, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And these are like popular authors, and I'm like,
it's wild, isn't it? And it's also that thing that it's like people want to know what else you've got, right? Like they want to know what else you've got. Like not always the book that is the thing that is the newest thing is going to capture their imagination or like their attention or whatever, you know, because especially if you're writing across a few different like genres or tropes or styles, like I mean for you, like right, you've got Shifters, you've got your vampire delicious,
and I've got Omegaverse. Like so I mean, and then I have also like even just the innate differences between wolf shifters versus bear shifters, or at least my brand of bear shifters. You know, like well, and it's wild to me. Like every time I post about another, like particularly a video that does well, I had a huge resurgence on One Night in Garoureve because I had posted a quote for Owen, and it was a week before release, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to read this. Is it going to be in KU?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Damn, they're not going to pre-order because they're looking for it in KU." And I made like a comment on one of them, like it's going to be in KU, but like since it's not out yet, go read One Night in Garoureve, and they did. And I had like a couple days before the One Night or before the Owen release, I had this huge spike. Huge spike because I posted a quote for one, it wasn't available, so then they read what is the other. Like it's just as simple as that. I don't know. I see a lot of advice, and I would never want to insult another author's process, but I think to myself, I'm so sorry that didn't work for you because I can list so many authors that did work for, me included. Yeah.
And I think there's something in that like there are so many people, especially like on Book Talk or Bookstagram, who aren't just looking for the current like flavor of the month book, right? Like they don't want the book that everyone seems to be talking about. Like they want the other books that are giving something different or talking about something different or featuring different characters, or you know, like they want those things because they're like they've either already read the one that everyone's talking about, or they're like, no, I'm just not interested in that. Like give me the bear shifters, like right, like that's Yeah.
You just hit one of my TED Talks. I'm sorry. You're going to have to call me in about 3 minutes. It's always wild to me how in trad, it's like they have like a checklist and it's like a list of like diversity. They're like, we can have like one queer book. And like, did we have a sapphic book last quarter? We can have one sapphic book this quarter.
Yeah.
And it's like they have like a checklist of like what they're allowed to do for diversity. And then like a small stack of like super generic.
Yeah.
But it's like they're only allowing to have one. And on the one hand, I get it. You don't want to have like competing books coming out. I get it. Like you don't want to be like pushing but readers are not I mean, like there are girls out here who are reading 300, 400, 500 books a year.
Yeah.
They're going to go through like all the books that you released in a quarter in like 4 days.
Yeah.
And so like it's always wild. So yeah. I'm trying to pull it in before.
Yeah, she's like,
it's just there. You know, no author is ever going to be able to write faster than readers read. And it's the same thing with like making friends within the writing community, making friends within your genre, but also like on like similar genres. Like I always feel like werewolves or wolf shifters and vampires are like very like similar vein. Like everybody. Even if you didn't read Twilight, everybody knew, like, you know, were you Jacob Gurley or what's the other one's name?
Edward? I never read the books. Scandalous, I know.
I was for those when they came out. Like I feel like
I was the same. I was like,
and I was out of college by then when they came out. Like,
yeah, I was like in that age.
What is Edward?
Where I was like, no, like. Yeah.
The only like thing that I can remember from that thing is the Bella, where you been, Loca? Because I've seen the TikTok and I know that whatever the daughter's name is, we don't call her that. Like you call her like Rutabaga or like
some other variation.
Like that's all I know. That's all I know. Okay, I'm off track. What was I saying? Anyways, yeah, like you're always going to be able to like within the community, you're never going to be able to write as fast as, I mean, unless you're Ruby Dixon and have a huge backlist, which took me like the entire summer. Last summer while I was moving, I just got like the entire Ruby Dixon backlist. Basically, like you're always going to have readers who are going to read all of your books and say, "Oh my God, I want more," and then you can say, "Hey, which one was your favorite? If this one was your favorite, you should go read this one, or this one. How much time do you have? Are you in the mood for another novella? I've got like these friends who have written like these novellas. Oh man, you're wanting like a 700-word one? Let me plug you into this one." Like, because you're never going to be able to write faster than readers read, and readers demand content, and being able to like connect them to other people. I don't remember what the original question was, but I love how I got to this thing because it's one of my favorite things to talk about, that authors are never in competition with each other. We should like let's say that like my book is #1 this week, and then like people come to me and say like, "What are you reading?" Then I push like a friend's book, then she's #1 next week. You know, like like we can all take turns at the top. There's no #1. I mean, there's a New York Times #1 bestseller, but like there's never like. There's never like a there's only a spot for one.
Yeah, because like in a week.
If you're out of space on your bookshelves, you need to buy another bookshelf.
Yeah, because within a week, like a voracious reader is going to go through potentially a book a day. Like, you know, in romance terms, like they're going to inhale them. Never mind the audiobooks that they're also listening to, never mind the, you know, the other ones that they're kind of like dipping in and out of. So yeah, it is. It's like, we might as well like just embrace the fact that like that range that we're able to talk about and kind of pop in front of people, like, and be like, hey, you know, this is the thing that I'm working on at the moment, but oh, by the way, if you're interested, like, here's all these other things. Yeah.
Like there's always so much more. So and, you know, something that I really love about indie is that, like, I feel like in trad, they've got, like, this, unless you're, like, James Patterson, like, your genre has to be, like, so locked in. Like, you can only write, like if you only write fantasy with dragons, or if you write fantasy with dragons, that's the only thing you're allowed to write. Whereas, like, in indie, it's like, well, basically, like, I think, like, unless you're writing children's book and then also, like, super, super spicy stuff. Yeah. Maybe you should have a different pen name.
Yeah. But if they're
please, because I don't need to have your spicy book on my Kindle and then like my kid sees it and be, oh my god, I love that author. No.
yeah.
I'm having a hard enough time keeping her away from my laptop and reading my smut. I don't need her reading her favorite children's author's smut either. But like,
never mind if they've got like the cartoony cover like to boot as well. Like,
yeah,
no. Yeah,
they'll trick you. They'll trick you real fast. But yeah, like, you know, within indie, we're able to write like I was worried at first. I was like, you know, I still have these like I never planned on sticking like with this pen name beyond anything other than I was going to use this for writing novella, short story, happy for now, erotic romances, eroticas.
Yeah.
And I never anticipated on it being my long-term thing. And now I'm still sitting here like, but guys, like FYI, I still have these like giant romantasy, particularly historical romantasy, where like, is the central story a love story? Yes, but like it could be told from like somebody else's point of view and it would just be a fantasy, like a historical fantasy. Like I love those sorts of plots where it's like you can tell like there's somebody in the background, and if they were telling the story, would you be getting the bedroom scenes where like they discuss things? No, you would instead be getting like the war room scene where they're discussing the attack that they're about to do, you know, versus where he's telling her about it while like trailing like his finger down her belt. Like, you know, like, so all of those sorts of things. So I was kind of like worried, like, you know, I'm lazy. Don't make me post on 2 different TikTok accounts, please. Like, don't make me post under different pen names. Like, can we just like hang out? And everybody was like, we're with you to the end, but like, is it still gonna be fat bitches? And I was like, I'm writing fat bitches no matter what.
Yeah, because that's your tagline now, right? Like, fat girls getting railed. Like, I fucking love it, like, so much.
I do feel like I could write something beyond that, but pissing off the fat phobes gives me more serotonin than my Adderall. So like, we're never not going to change that just because I'm a petty bitch. Yeah. That has nothing to do with marketing or like having a brand. That has everything to do with me being a petty bitch.
Yeah.
100%.
What's the thing? Like, do what sparks joy or like brings you joy in life. It's
like, does this spark joy? Does having fat bitches on cover spark joy? 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sparks all the joy.
You know, like what you were just saying before about like the diversity and like representation and things like that. Like, that alone, especially in like paranormal and fantasy, is like a huge thing that so many of us, like as readers, like I'm saying as myself, as like a reader of that genre as well, as much as I write it, you know, like there is that huge want to see yourself on the page, and it not just to be this like, you know, lithe, muscular, like skinny bitch, like, you know, with big tits.
I was just talking this with Stephanie. Don't make me say her last name. Hang on. She writes Sasha in the Butcher series. It's Mafia romance. And she writes plus size heroines. She and I were just chatting about this yesterday. I was saying, you know, it's so funny. I was literally on a hike and I got a message from someone that was more or less a review. Like, they shouldn't have sent it to me, but like they basically told me that like I was a terrible person and I was fat phobic because a fat girl couldn't go on a walk through the woods. I was on a 7-mile hike at the time, and they're like, this is unrealistic. Like, you made her fat, but like a fat girl would never be able to go hiking through the woods. And I literally just stood there like, what?
Like, do I send you a selfie right now or like what?
I literally responded and sent them a selfie of me on the hiking trail, like hiking backpack, a child strapped to my back, like standing there like, fat girls can't hike. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. I'm gonna block you now. Like,
yeah.
And the number of times, this might be a little naughty to say, the number of times I've had somebody comment on my posts and say, I would love to have my character be plus size for the representation, but I don't know how to do it in fantasy because they're running around and swinging a sword. And it's like, first of all, that feels insulting to my girl Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling, like, that's number one. Number two, swinging a sword or drawing. Have you watched some of the archers on TikTok ever? Those girls got arms that like make me stop for a minute and go, ooh, like, oh, nice. But like, the idea the idea. Like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Especially
If
when you add in like all of the things like magic or anything else. It's like literally you
like that's what you're gonna argue about?
Yeah, it's like it's like you're gonna argue about the like realism or like the if it's grounded enough in reality, and it's like, dude, they can literally
like you're telling me
they can literally
a 250-pound woman with thighs like tree trunks can't hike a mountain, but a 90-pound girl with huge knockers can. I'm a little I'm concerned. Like,
yeah.
That's like, and that's not like a body shaming thing. That's just like that's not how physics works. That's not how the body works. That's completely even ignoring like medical conditions or medical reasoning or genetic conditions. Like what's the joke? You stop eating or you start running and your body thinks like, oh, you're running from the English. Like, don't worry, we'll keep your body going, while you're running. Like, and that's just like genetics. Yeah. Like, it's like, please don't tell me, like, please don't comment on my post thinking that you're being fat positive while telling me that a fat girl can't exist in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Like come on, man. It's not the compliment you think it is.
Yeah. And we've all seen like, or we've all watched like enough fantasy, like sort of movies or series or whatever, where it's like the men can be all sorts of shapes and sizes and no one like bats an eyelid. But it's like the moment a woman dares to have anything more than like a rail thin physique, all of a sudden everyone's questioning like whether that's possible.
I am sorry. Samwise Gamgee did not climb mountains. Like, you're gonna insult my boy like that?
Yeah,
insult my boy like that? Like, no.
Like he carried Frodo like up a mountain. Yeah.
Wasn't an eater. You like excuse me, potatoes. Like the fat shaming. But the second that it's a woman, they can't do it. I have quite literally carried a child on my front and my back while my husband carries our dog. He had burned paws because his little booties came off in the water. It was a whole thing. Like literally, like I have carried 2 children while hiking back to the car a couple miles. Don't tell me fat bitches can't do shit. Particularly if you're being chased.
Yeah.
You're being chased or you haven't eaten in a few days. Where are we going? I don't run. But if there's a good meal at the end, let me tighten up my laces. Let me put on like a knee brace. Let's go. Like, I'm there.
It's like I'm highly motivated. That's right now.
Complete side story. When we were in Tokyo, we did a lot of walking and we were particularly going to a lot of places that were not near to the subway, but we had 2 small children. And could we have taken like a taxi or an Uber? Sure. But my youngest is so small, I don't feel comfortable, even though it's legal in Japan, for her to not be in a car seat. So like either we were going to take the subway or we were going to walk it. We did a lot of walking. At one point in time, we're walking along and my husband's like, oh, the subway station to go down is right beside a coffee shop that you had flagged on Google Maps. And I was, it was the one that had the whipped cream cakes. I was like, you grab a kid, I'll grab a kid. We got to go. And he was like, what are you doing? And I said, they close in 20 minutes. I booked it. Did I get my whipped cream cake? Yes, I did. And a delicious coffee. It was amazing. What I can do is a good snack at the end. Real fast.
I love it. It's like, yeah. you know your characters inside and out.
like I can get us there real. Something I really don't like about Japan is that everything closes kind of like things are only open for like certain hours a day. Like they'll open for lunch from 10:30 to 1:30 and like they are solid on that window. So a lot of coffee shops and places will like close at like 2 or 3 o'clock and it's like, but it's 4 p.m. I need my 4 p.m. coffee. I can't do this.
Yeah, it's like, no. What is going on here?
Come back. Please let me in. That stated, the vending machines here are exquisite. There's always a vending machine on every corner that has like I'm currently drinking a milk tea, but like a milk tea or like a coffee, all sorts of different like coffees with like different like blends. You can almost always get a mocha. And so that does make up for it. And iced and hot. So like you can almost always get that from a vending machine, like if the shop is closed, but
yeah,
it's not the same.
I know it's not, it doesn't have that same like sense. Like getting it from a vending machine is not the same as just being able to like go and enjoy like a cool.
There was also there's a couple of coffee shops that like we walked by that we were going to pass anyways, but like we hadn't made it while they were open. And a couple of them had like the vending machines that had like the generic stuff, but then they also had like little like desserts in the vending machine, and that's always fun. I saw a couple of like cake ones. There's also a butcher shop here on island that has a vending machine with the meat.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Like,
so it's got like the little like wrapped packages that's like got like, you know, like the normal like serving sizes, and then you put in how many serving sizes, and it just pops right out, and I'm like,
whoa, yeah,
it's amazing.
That's crazy. That's like it's like mind-blowing, right? Just that whole like world of like what is possible.
I love the way that vending machines work here. I didn't understand it. Vending machines, so my understanding at least of vending machines in the States is that they are owned by like whoever's property it's on. They purchase it, and they can either pay to get it stocked by like whichever like brand it is, or they can restock it themselves, right? Whereas here in Japan, my understanding is that you as like an owner will say, hey, I've got a lot of traffic here who might want beverages. You call like the central location and say, hey, I think like we've got a need, like particularly a lot of like little like food like pop-up places. They don't want to be dealing with drinks. They're dealing with food. They'll call up and say, hey, we've got like this spot. Here's where the outlet is. Do you want to come? And there's no like payment between the two. It's with the understanding that having a vending machine will bring in more business for the business. And then like the vending machine people aren't going to like request that they pay them because they're helping them, because they're also selling stuff. And then like they're just restock. I love it. It's amazing. It's not a parasitic relationship. It's a coexistence.
Yeah.
Like it's a beneficial coexistence. I love it.
Yeah. And it goes back to like exactly what we were saying before about like the fact that like literally you writing this style of book and like gathering this collection of like other similar genre authors. It's like, yeah, we're all just like,
I've had so many people asking if I'm going to be writing like a tentacle book, for example. And I'm like, have you read my Boo Thang Rowan's book? Like, hang on a minute. Or like they'll comment on like loving my Vampire in the Bookstore cover, and I'm like, Rowan. Or like they ask for like a vampire book, and I'm like, oh my God, but like, do you want to read about like himbo vampires? Like, let me tell you, because like I only have this one, but like I got a friend who writes it, like, and it's a beautiful relationship to have that connection. Or particularly like if you yourself are not. I wanted to do it this summer, but like I got behind. And I'm planning to do it next summer, to basically spend like 30 days of the summer promoting books that like are similar to mine. Like when I'm just like in a lull where it's like I cannot post another quote from my own stuff. But like I want to like spend like the entire month promoting other people's works. Because number one, it brings in new content from my followers. Like they're probably sick of there's a couple of quotes where I am like, we're not posting this anymore. We've posted it too many times. It can come back out of the closet in 2025, right? They would probably love to see like new content. Number one. Number two, like it helps my other authors. It creates bridges. I love a coexisting relationship that's beneficial for both parties. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So on the topic of the things that you've got going on and the plans and this summer and what we know is coming with these projects that are coming, what can you tell us about what's coming next? Because we know you've been promoting, we've got Omegaverse coming, but that is not, at the time that we're recording, what is going to be out next. So what can you tease us with? What can you tempt us with? Because we are so here for all the things.
So first and foremost, I have a creepy court monster mall anthology. It's set in the 80s. It's featuring people like Vera Valentine, Cleo Evans, Ashley Bennett, Sarah Shell. There's so many people on the list. So that's going to be coming out. So I've got that. I'm writing a piece called The Phantom of the Theater. He's a phantom who lives in the theater, and he needs screams to have a corporeal form, and she finds herself to be quite the little scream queen. As for me and myself, my next book that's actually coming out is going to be the next Bear book. I said that it would be coming in the fall, and by God, we're making it happen. I'm finally working on writing the bonus epilogue for Owen. So as soon as that's out, I'll be able to start talking about and working on boosting Cedric. So if you're interested in that bonus epilogue, definitely make sure that you're signed up for my newsletter. I will be posting like the links. I don't send a bunch of newsletters. I only send out newsletters when I have like important content. And this is like the next like big like thing that's coming out other than the anthology. And then following after that, I did just have The Vampire in the Bookstore come out. I've had so many people ask about like more monstrous novellas, as I called them. So not a series, maybe a serial is what I'll call it. I don't know. Same vibes. I guess they could be in the same world. I don't know, but that doesn't matter. I have The Werewolf in the Brewery. He's a werewolf who has a brewery, shocker. And she wanders in with her dogs who just, it's a dog friendly brewery, of course. And her dogs just eat them up and yeah.
And yeah.
So another spicy little novella coming out. And then we have Devoted Destruction, which is my Mafia Omegaverse. I've been pocketing and working on this one for ages. I said I wouldn't do it because I love to take Omegaverse and beat it up out back and put it on the table and say, now say thank you, daddy. Like I love to take things and beat them up and make them my own. But like in particular, Omegaverse, I was there, Gandalf, when Omegaverse was born. So like I love all the possibilities that can happen with Omegaverse. So I really took this one and just like completely ran it in the opposite direction, like what's probably expected. So I'm really excited to have that one come out. And I know that like people have been sad because it's listed as not coming out until July of next year. I promise it's not. It's going to hopefully be January or February, but I'm doing hardbacks for the first time with Devoted Destruction going wide. I'm so excited. It's going to have a dust jacket cover and everything. But shipping to Japan takes a little while.
Yeah.
Like it takes a little bit. It takes my understanding is it takes like 2 to 3 weeks for the printing of a hardback proof from Ingram Sparks. And then it normally is about a month for shipping to Japan, but this is also going to be around the Christmas season as I'm ordering it. So I don't know when the hardback's going to arrive, and hopefully there's no issues with it. If there's no issues with it, then January release date is 100% like a possibility. Otherwise, it might be February or March, and I don't want to have a rushed so I have the ebook pre-order up, but I don't want to have a rushed hardback pre-order, and I want to have them come out on the same day. So yeah, we'll see. It's sometime in Q1. It just depends on how long it takes for shipping to happen. You never know. I had stuff that I ordered in October of last year that didn't arrive until March. Then I had something that I ordered the week before Christmas. All like arrival dates were set for like February, and it was there on Christmas Eve. Wow. There's no telling. Yeah. It depends on if it gets put in a shipping container or if it gets put on an airplane. And if it gets put on an airplane, which base it goes to, because it goes to, there's like 2 different like runs of them. One of them, the day that it arrives, it will be put on a truck to my post office. The other one, it's got to go through processing and then go over to the other post office, and then it'll come over to me. So like, there's no telling. There's no telling, but it won't be next summer. It'll be out before that. Yeah, I know. It's that newsletter. It's one of these things that like when you live in these sort of like slightly more unique destinations of the world, like, there's added layers of things. And I think I was trying to explain that to like my reader group when I was waiting on my last print proof and things. And I literally got to the point that I was like, I had to take a screenshot of Google Maps to be like, this is where it's coming from in Australia. This is where it's got to then go to be like shipped. And this is like the path that it's got to take to get down to me. like it's a whole, the fact that people can order my book in the States and have it arrive like the next day just blows my mind. Like that sort of Vampire in the Bookstore, I had to do 2 different rounds of proofs, and people were like, demanding, begging for it. I finally just said, screw it, we'll take it live. I hope it's okay. I sent one to my PA and I was like, it's Amazon 2-day shipping, but it says it'll be there in 1 day. Please check it ASAP because I need to make sure that it's fine because I've just put it live because I cannot wait another 3 weeks for this thing to arrive.
Yeah. I know. I was getting to that point, I think, with one of my books that I was just like, right, we're going to do like the first proof. There was a few things that needed fixed. And I was like, we're just going to have to like, fingers crossed, hope that like the next round is fine because I cannot wait.
Like, how long are we supposed to sit here, you know? So
yeah. No, it is a whole thing that like I think when so many of our readers are so used to the speed of like ordering and like being able to get it like the next day, like whereas we get so used to like the delay.
When I lived in SoCal, proofs in particular are supposed to take like 4 to 5 days. But I could order a proof before noon and it would arrive the next day before noon.
It's insane.
Because the printing place was at like an hour and a half drive away from me. But they wouldn't do it and it would just pop right on over. So I could just order another proof. Oh, I want to change it slightly and see how it looks. Oh no, we'll change it back the other way. Not a big deal. Yeah. Here I'm like I do it one way, I order a proof. I do it a second way, I order another proof. And then like I have to like have like on like the main cover, hey, dumb bitch, it's this file is this proof. And then like B, this book is this proof file. And pray that like it didn't like accidentally get messed up somewhere along the way and that like they're actually the ones that use it.
Yeah, I know. It's like, God forbid we end up like actually accidentally like uploading the wrong thing.
Wrong one. Yes.
Yeah. Which is again, the fun learnings of indie author life, right? It's like, but in saying all that, I do always like give myself that little moment of grace when like you open up a traditionally published book and see like a spelling mistake or something. And I'm like, yeah, this shit is hard. Like, and we're doing it all on our own.
I remember reading, I can't even remember the name of the book, but like at the end of like the chapter, she's like, it says like, she closed her eyes and had a dreamless sleep. And then the start of the next chapter was like, her night was filled with dreams that became nightmares. And it's like, and not even like flip the page. Like it wasn't the mass market. It was like the first edition release or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was like literally like halfway down the page and then like on the opposite page. And it was just like, who
approved this?
Who approved this? Like this was just like literally like, come on. Like the last phrase is dreamless sleep. And then it's like her sleep was filled with dreams. Yeah.
Especially when we know the efforts and lengths we're going to with like beta readers and like editors and like all of that stuff.
I would be dragged. My friends would forget readers. My author friends would drag me if I made that mistake. They would give me no peace. It'd be 2 years from now and they'd be like, hey, Elle, do you remember that time? Why are we talking about it? So yeah, we do have to give ourselves a lot of grace because it is hard.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep juggling and a lot to keep like on top of. So with all of your projects coming up, obviously we've got the fun things that we know are coming, and
I also have an audiobook. Trapped in Garoureve audiobook is starting production here in a couple of weeks. The amazing Ruthie Bowles is narrating, and I'm so excited because literally I heard her voice for the first time and was like, I already know exactly who you're going to narrate for. And I sent her an email like that day and was like, hey, I'm going to reach out to you like ages from now. And then when I brought it up to her, she was like, I remember that email. I did not think you were serious. And I was like, no. I'm serious. It finally starts production here in a couple of weeks. So hoping around Christmas, right after Christmas.
Oh my God.
That'll be coming out. So
it's exciting. And you were saying earlier that you've had a couple of audios come out through the past few months.
Well, so One Night in Garoureve came out in May of last year, actually. Yeah. And then this spring, over the fall, winter, spring. So this year, so far, I've had Needed in Garoureve came out in audiobook, and then Owen came out in audiobook. Owen, the first Bear Shifter book came out. So yeah, which oddly enough, the next book that I'm releasing will be Cedric, which is his brother's Bear Shifter book. So if you are an audiobook girly, and I will be, I know that I've been kind of slow on, I'm really slow on the audiobook narrator because the ADHD is like, that's not exactly right, but I don't know how to tell somebody, hey, can you change your voice slightly for this? Like, I don't know how to say anything other than wrong. Yeah. So, but we're picking up the pace of audiobooks.
Yeah.
We're picking up the pace. The only reason why Ruthie took a break for summer too, or else we'd already have that one going, and then we'll be getting Return going. So I've got Vampire in the Bookstore hopefully in production soon. Got to lock it down with contracts and everything, but
yeah,
that's, you know, it's like can I make my editing and the anthology deadline, or should I be figuring out how to explain to professional audiobook narrators who know way more than me what my ADHD wants to say? Which one is a better use of my time right now? The better use of my time is actually writing and editing. We'll get back to the other thing in a bit.
Yeah. And it's like all of a sudden you're having to be this like production, you know, whiz of like knowing how you want your book to be produced in audio.
I literally with Owen, when I was like trying to like describe all the voices, they were like, you missed Bethany, who's the heroine for Cedric. We already know that like they've been sneaking around in the background, so not really a spoiler, sort of a spoiler. It's sort of a spoiler, but you find it out in like chapter 3, like chapter 3 or 4. Like it's not a spoiler.
Yeah,
it's not a spoiler. But I was like, think like Laguna Beach, The Hills, and so then I got back, you know, feedback, or got back like character, you know, voices, you know, to check on all of them. And I was trying to explain everything, and then I was like, and Bethany is flawless. Like I literally like messaged them on Instagram, like, FYI, it's going to take me a few days to like figure out how to word things. I'm probably not going to mention Bethany because she's flawless. Do nothing. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Leave her as is. Perfect. So,
yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, I like this. I could keep talking to you forever about this because this is so fascinating. There's so many things happening. We're obviously going to have to do another episode. Like,
I warned you I was unhinged and chaotic, and I feel like a lot of people think that like I'm joking, or a lot of people seem to think that like it's an act or a show, and I'm like, no, I just took off my mask. Like in my day-to-day life, I am trying to be invisible. And then like I as a human just like I need like a dress that's like a weighted blanket, honestly. Yeah. And then it's like I just let it all hang, sometimes on TikTok, sometimes I pull it together. But like Threads in particular, like I will have that random thought and I'll just post it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And people are always like, "You're so funny," and I'm like, God, I'm glad somebody thinks it's funny. I'm a little concerned.
It's like, welcome to my brain. Welcome to my brain.
It's like I'm concerned. I think y'all find it funny. My therapist is probably worried about me too. Like,
no, but we are gonna obviously we're gonna have to do an Omegaverse like chat when we get to Devoted Destruction.
Yes.
Because if it's Elle version of Omegaverse, like I love getting into like the different ways that
so many options. It'll be fun. Once it's out, we'll definitely do something. So
yeah, sounds perfect. So where can everyone
doesn't try to interrupt us 15 times?
So where can everyone find you, stalk you, come and get? We'll link up in the show notes as well how to get on your email list so that people can get the bonus epilogue. I have TikTok and Instagram and a reader group on Facebook, and I have Threads, but like I'm not kidding when I say that I'm unhinged. I also happen to have a website where I do post, if you're interested in more information about like author journey, I do have a blog where I've like documented my author journey. It used to be on a Patreon, basically saving up to fix my website because I broke it and I had to pay somebody to fix what I screwed up on the website. So now I no longer have a Patreon. It's now free on my website with all sorts of resource links and everything. So I have all sorts of things going on. You can find me on most platforms. You just have to decide like, how professional do I want to see this woman? You want to see me
is like really professional, follow me on YouTube. If you want to see the most absurd things of your life, Threads is where it's at. So.
And then like Bookstagram and Book Talk kind of like fall somewhere.
Bookstagram and Book Talk are pretty good, but occasionally I'll slip and post something on Bookstagram. Like I posted a video the other day of me trying to hold like my mild liners and my pens to show like the balance of smut versus plot. So like occasionally I'll slip on Instagram, but for the most part I keep Instagram pretty good, but like also like a little like teaser. I keep it on the same level as my books. Let's put it that way. I write a lot of smut.
Yeah.
So it's the same level. TikTok, I could post a very serious video one moment and post me awkwardly dancing the next. So there's no telling what you're going to get there.
Yeah. It's like the bouquet of flowers. Like
you're going to lean into sniff and you're not going to know what you get.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out and sharing all your magic. And we love your books. And we can't wait for the next round of things to be coming. It's going to be amazing, as always. Love it. Love it. Can't wait to have you back. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, as always, for another episode of Successful Witches. You can find us online in all the places at successful.witches. I'm your host, Elliot Rose, and you can find me at Elliot Rose Author on Bookstagram, on Book Talk, and of course we will have linked up all the relevant places you can go and connect with our wonderful indie author on today's episode. You can connect with me, you can find all our books, all in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening. If you love this episode, please remember to like, to subscribe, and to share on social media. We love to see the tags if you've been listening in or watching along. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.